Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome, guys. I hope you can hear me.
Hi.
Yes, Saz can hear me for a computer. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our second episode of Picking Brains. My name is Charlie. We have Meg, Saz, and if you'd like to introduce yourself, you need to press the button.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm Wayne from Room Escape Southend. Hi.
Yeah, so we're really excited today to have Room Escape Southend because we're going to be discussing some things, particularly the kind of lockdown quarantine, how that's affecting escape room businesses, and how they've really cleverly designed a virtual online escape room. So, Meg, the gal with all the questions, take it away.
So, thank you very much, Charlie. So, first of all, I do believe congratulations are in order for your nomination at the Scar Awards.
Yes.
Thank you.
That was for Catacombs, yeah?
The Catacombs has been nominated for Best Scary Escape.
Yeah, so we've been lucky 4 in a row so far. I've been nominated 4 years in a row, so they obviously like us.
Yeah, that's good. I feel like quite proud of that because I go to uni in Southend, so I'm always like, yeah, big local representation.
Yes. Yeah. So, how did you personally feel when you found out about your nominations and about your past wins? Because you've won in the past, like last year for Best New Scary Escape Room for the Chapel and Best Horror Themed Escape Room in 2017. So, how did you feel about all of that?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's always nice to get a nomination, especially as we're a really small independent company compared to a lot of people that get nominated for the Scar Awards. So we were really happy, but it's really sad because normally we would celebrate with our whole team, but
yeah,
obviously we're locked in and so we can't.
No, that really sucks.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the same for all the nominees.
Yeah.
Because like with us for Zombie Infection, we also got a nomination. We're not going to be able to all celebrate together, but we could find other ways around it, if you know what I'm on about. Like video chats and stuff. But yeah, it's going to be really sad that we're not going to all be in the same room to be able to properly celebrate. But,
Yeah.
So, first off, how did you actually come up with the concept of the virtual escape room, and were there any challenges along the way?
Okay, yeah, it was just a mad, crazy idea. My ideas come when I get home from work and I have a few drinks and I sit there and I think, oh, let's come up with something crazy. And so I did. My other half, who runs the company with me, was like, that's never going to work. People are not going to grasp the concept of that. And I was like, oh, we'll just try it. What's the worst that can happen? And so we put it online, not expecting it to be as popular as it is, and now we've got people from all over the world playing the game, which is a total shock to me. But the beginning, we had some major issues. One was bandwidth, because obviously we do our games through Zoom. And so our bandwidth was awful and it wouldn't function correctly. So we've had to get boosters and stuff to boost our internet around. And learning to undo a lock with one hand has been a huge challenge.
Yeah, I expect so. So do you have a phone that you carry, and then obviously they kind of direct you around the room, and then is that you kind of like hold it like this and then go around and solve the puzzles?
Yeah, sort of. So it's on an iPad mini because we found that was the best quality video that we could use.
Yeah.
And it's on a stand. In fact, if you give me 2 seconds, I'll show you.
Ooh.
It's on a stand like this.
Yes.
And it's just a solid base, so I can wheel it round as such. And then I can hold it, because we tried to hold it steady and it just kept wobbling all the time. So that was something else we learned in the first week, that the stand was really important. Especially when someone's asking you to stare at one of the puzzles for like 10 minutes and your arms start trying to fall off. So yeah, it's an iPad on a stand.
Yeah, that's really cool actually.
Clever.
The way
Really
you've set it
clever.
up, yeah, I think it's fantastic and such a great way to get people, you know, still engaging with your business and still kind of having something to do. Because I know there are a lot of people, including myself, going crazy, sitting at home not doing anything. So yeah, it's been
Yep.
really awesome to see kind of these creative
Yeah.
ideas.
So cool.
Mm.
So next question. No worries. Next question is, what do you think would draw people to escape rooms? Like, why is there such a massive market for them now?
I think it's escape from reality, really. I think because people are so reliant on technology, says us talking to each other on technology, but people get so reliant on it that I think that they come to escape rooms to escape from that. So it's a double meaning, really. But I think they like the fact that they're working together for an hour and they're not using their phones and they're not constantly. I mean, I don't know how your families work, but when I have my family round, they're always answering their text messages or replying to Facebook, and conversations get interrupted by that, where I think they like the fact that an hour they're completely with each other, completely communicating. I don't know that for a fact, but that's what I assume.
Yeah, that's a lovely
Sounds
thought
about
to
right.
think about that, and
Sounds
it's
about right.
yeah needed so much now as ever when you know people need that kind of escape from reality. It's
Yeah,
Yeah, and
more
I
than
do
ever
think we
now, I
need that
think.
escape from our devices as well. So having to put those away for a while and there being no excuses to actually spend that time. So I think that's really awesome.
And I think we have a different approach to escape rooms than a lot of escape room companies, because we're very, we're horror themed, which not many people are, but we are very immersive. So often our games will start before the game starts. So the host is part of the story, and the corridor's part of the story. And so we try to make it like they're in a real action film as such, or like a horror film, rather than just, oh, we're turning up, we're sitting in a waiting room. So we try to make it an experience that's very immersive, so they forget that they're in some awful street in Southend.
What are you talking about? The high street in Southend is such a wonderful place to be.
Yeah. So, leading on from the horror escape rooms, did you find that there was a market for that, and did you see that they were really popular, and what made you think of that in the first place?
So me and my other half are obsessed with horror, horror films particularly, and I love really old B movies. They're my favourite. I'd much rather watch the old movies than the movies they try to create now and try and scare you, which aren't scary. And so when we discussed about opening an escape room, we were like, let's just go horror. So that's how the first 3 years were just horror, and it's only in the last year that we expanded to a bigger building, and we've got a smaller room at the back, which is non-horror themed, just to entice them few people that are not horror fans to come. And then generally, we can convince them to come and try a horror themed escape room, so it helps that way. I prefer the horror than the...
Definitely puts the pressure on when it's horror. You're definitely like, oh god, now I need to definitely escape.
Yeah, definitely. So, one of my next questions is, have you got any more escape room concepts in the works? Have you got any ideas that you might want to do when eventually all of this blows over?
Yes, so we had already previously planned all the way up until the end of next year. We change our rooms every 3 months, so again, that is very different to other escape rooms. But we'd had that planned from, in fact, we were meant to open a new room this weekend, which is a bit sad, but so we've got that all planned. So that will just literally, when we were allowed to open, we'll just move that whole plan to then, and so we'll have another half a year possibly of planning already in place. So yeah.
Oh, that sounds good. So, one of my last questions, then Charlie can ask a few. So, with your virtual escape room, the virus, is there any plans to possibly do that into? Is it already an escape room with you? And like, where did the idea come from?
So no, it's not already a room. We did, when I initially come up with the idea of this virtual escape room, we tried to do it at our room that we already had built, so the catacombs room. But it just didn't work. There's too many corridors and crawl spaces and stuff, and so it didn't work. And so we were like, right, we need to have one space where it's easy to turn around, easy for people to see. And yeah, it worked. The idea of the virus just comes from zombies, because I'm obsessed with zombies. People think that it's all to do with the virus that's happening at present, but it's to do with the zombie virus. We're not that awful, and we make a joke out of that, but it's the zombie virus. And it was just the easiest thing to do in one square room, because we thought if it's a room that's set out like a quarantine room, it's much easier to explain why it's just a square room.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it sounds amazing. Like what you've done is just amazing.
Yeah, it's funny to say. You said it's not based on the actual virus, because we had that discussion with Michael on our last podcast about, is it too soon to do an experience based on the virus? But you kind of answered our question there anyway. So yeah. But yeah, how many people have you had do it? Because you said you have people around the world, which is amazing. Like, where have they whereabouts around the world, do you know?
Yeah, I do actually know. So we generally have 9 sessions every day, fully booked, which is
Oh,
unheard of
wow.
for us. Normally Friday, Saturday, Sunday are busy for us, and the rest of the week generally is touch and go, depending if we've got corporate. But so far we've had 2 families from America, one from California, which is really nice. They were very over the top though compared to the British.
Yeah.
Fun. This afternoon I hosted some guys from Italy, and we've had Germany, France, and the Netherlands so far. So it's been really nice, because we would never get them people in our room normally. We're too far out of London for holiday makers to visit us. So it's just been really nice to meet people from all over the world and talk to them. It's quite nice, and they're all in the same boat as we are, so they're all been really nice, and yeah, it's been nice.
That's so wonderful. Yeah, just having so many different people coming together. I mean, in kind of a strange way, it's kind of connected us more as a world, because we're all going through it. It's a world problem. But yeah, it's just awesome to see that many people doing it. Like you said, fully booked out days. So with that experience, are you going to carry it on once this lockdown is over, do you reckon? Because it's been so successful.
So yeah, we're opening another virtual room next week. It's called Once Upon a Time, so it's much more of a family-friendly version, because people have been asking us, "Oh, my children want to play," and so we've created a whole new room for that. And we've been discussing that. Just because we're in lockdown now, it doesn't mean that when we come out that there aren't still people that have to be locked in their house and might love to do something like this, or they live here and their mum and dad live in, I don't know, America, let's say, and so they can't get together. So we have discussed about keeping one room or one virtual experience open after we're allowed to go back to business. But we'd have to test that and see if there was a need and people wanted to do it. But we have discussed it, yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant then, because yeah, I definitely think there would be people who'd want to have a go at doing it online and
still want to do it after this.
Yeah,
definitely.
Especially if like university students like me whose parents are different area of the UK. Great thing to connect them together. But yeah, so do you do kind of like any special things over Halloween? Do you have like a special escape room or different things?
So we don't generally. We have never really done. We do a pop-up occasionally, but generally we don't. However, this year coming, as long as this is all clear, Cursed, who are in What Tyler Country Park, I'm sure you know who they are. We are joining forces with them to create a walk through escape room as part of the whole event. So we've got a plan of a room where you, depending on what object you choose to solve, leads you on a different path. So a bit like, have you seen Cabin in the Woods, where they go downstairs and
Yes.
depending on the object, depends on who comes after them. That's that concept of depending on what clue they solve, depends on where they go next. But we're in discussion with Kirst at present about how that's going to logistically work. But yeah, so normally not, but this year, yes, if we come out quick enough.
Yeah, fingers crossed, because that sounds amazing. And for the past 2 years, I've been to Kirst, and it's always so much fun. So if you guys are definitely there, then I'm definitely going to be trying that out, because that sounds cool. So obviously you've had so many different rooms, because you say you change them every 3 months. Do you have a favourite room that you have designed or created?
So yeah, I have two. One is the cottage, which was not the cottage, sorry, the cabin, which was like it was based on a witch that lived in the woods, and we built a whole log cabin. Our rooms are very immersive, so it looks like you are. So it was a big log cabin, and you walked out into the woods, and I loved that room. And the witch appeared every so often to try and torment you and drag you into the dark. And then my other favourite one is the Catacombs, the room that we just got nominated for. We worked really hard on it, and I'm hoping, well, we got nominated, so they must have enjoyed it. But it was a very different concept for us. It was completely in pitch black, and they had a little lantern.
Oh, wow.
And basically, the demon that was there had control of their lights, so their lights could go off and on at any stage during the game. So that freaked people right out, because they had no control of it.
That sounds wicked. So what sort of technology did you use to do that? Was it kind of like a remote?
Yeah, so we initially asked the guy from Magic Lantern. I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
The guy, and it was just too expensive for us. If you're a big attraction and you're using it over and over again, I suppose it's not expensive. But so we did a very budget. We bought these little stick-on lights that you stick under your kitchen cabinets, and they have a remote control. And so the baddie used to, basically from the little sneaky holes he had, literally just press the button, it'd turn their lights off or turn them on. And the host had one just in case we couldn't get to turn it back on as the baddie. So because we have live hosts in our room that are part of the game.
Oh, nice.
We have lots of people that freak out, and so we learned very quickly to have a live host to, one, remove them if they do freak out, and secondly, to keep control of them not punching someone.
Oh gosh, yes. It's definitely very important when you have live actors, as to make sure no one's stressing
very
out.
important in our events as well, that people can be removed if they can't hack it.
Yeah.
They don't always realise what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah.
And with like scare mazes, I've seen that side more, and just like making sure that they can get out if they need to, and they have to be taken out. We have the capacity to do that, whether willingly or unwillingly, shall we say.
Yeah. But I love the kind of creative use of different lighting that you guys used, and especially, as you said, doing it on a budget, which is kind of like sometimes what we do is we have to, work with what we've got, and the creativity and the passion shows that, you don't always need lots and lots of money to, create these fantastic award-winning events and room escapes.
It's very true, and not many people know this, but we built our Catacombs room. Bear in mind, we reused a lot of wood and stuff, but it cost us £120 to build it, and we've just been nominated for an award. So It shows you don't need to spend thousands of pounds.
Yeah, that's really fantastic then, especially to people as well who are watching that may want to create their own escape room in the future, or work for one. That's really fantastic to hear.
Yeah, I think it's just to do with creativity. If you've got it, you have it, and you don't need to spend tens of thousands of pounds to create an experience that's scary. I think lots of people rely on special effects and rely on this rather than just relying on, sometimes it's just the sound or the lighting that can affect someone's fear, rather than smoke blowing out the wall or fire blowing from the ceiling, etc.
Yeah. So you change the events every 3 months. How come you guys do that? Is it to keep it fresh, or to keep boosting ticket sales, or?
So we're really lucky. We have a huge, well, not huge, but we have a huge following. So we do this thing called the Terror Card, where basically it's reduced ticket prices, but you can attend X amount of events. And so we have lots of followers that come back. So every time we change a room every 3 months, generally the first month we sell out before it's even gone on the website, because our regulars come and book it. So that's why we did it, because we found that because we're quite a small town, although people say we're not, we are in the respect of culture. Southend isn't necessarily that cultural, or the people in it aren't. And so we decided that we would change it up all the time so that our regulars would keep coming back, and that's what's happened. Some of our regulars are now our friends. We see them so much that they are our friends. We know them on first name basis, so that's nice.
Yeah, that's so lovely to hear. And
Really nice.
with people, we always love people who come back over and over again, because it creates this community of people, and it's always the best faces, I always think, to see when you're running experience or event, is the ones that you recognise and you're like, oh, you're back again. Like, it's this kind of family connection.
Especially when they come as well. And
Yeah.
you're in a different role, and they're like, "Oh, it's you."
Yeah.
Hilarious.
So we're going to move on to a couple of questions from our audience now. One of them is, have you ever done a zombie experience before?
Yes, we did too. So we did our first ever room when we opened 4 years ago, was a zombie themed experience. And it was, people enjoyed it, but it wasn't what we wanted it to be at the time. We had a very little budget, and so we did it. And then the other one we did, or attempted to do, was in partnership with a local football ground, which was amazing. The concept was amazing. However, the football ground kept changing what we could and couldn't do, and then they'd do this and then they'd do that, and so it spoiled, or for me it spoiled the whole event. So from that moment forward, we decided never to work with a big company that didn't really know what they were doing, and then they just wanted to make money. That's all they were interested in, and it backfired on us, really, because it wasn't what we wanted it to be. Apart from that, most of our rooms aren't zombie themed. We like trying to steer off of stereotypical events. So we don't particularly, we attempt to do zombies, but we'd rather go down a different route and have some like serial killer or some manic, especially my 80s theme. So we did a room called The Cottage, and it was a hillbilly that was after them, and in fact chased them in through the front door into the game before it even started.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, we've done a few zombie events, but not many. It's not really our thing.
Yeah. So have you personally ever been to like a zombie experience before?
Yes, so I've been to Wicked experiences simply because the boys that run it are our friends. They live in the same town as us, and they come to our escape room all the time. And so they invited us to one of their events in somewhere in London, somewhere. And it was scary on the outside. To be fair, some of the people that were outside this shopping centre were not particularly nice people. But yeah, so we've done that. We've done Cursed. We've been to Tully's a couple of times. It's quite hard for us because they're generally Halloween orientated, and generally that's our busiest time of year, ticket sales wise, because everyone wants to come and do a scary room. So we don't get to do as much as we would like to do.
Yeah. So carrying on with our audience questions, what did you do before escape rooms, or have you always kind of done escape rooms?
No, it's a simple question. So initially, I was in musical theatre for 12 years, travelling the country and lots of Europe and London, etc. And then I realised that I could never have a relationship while doing that, because it's people go, "Oh, it's such an easy job. You only do this," and it's not. You don't have time to have a relationship. So I gave that up and went into teaching. So I taught for 10 years, and then we opened the escape room. And my other half comes from a finance background. So I'm the performer type person and creative, and he's very good with the finance and very good at all the working out how Facebook works and stuff like that. Because I type a message on Facebook, I don't have a clue how you send it to wherever or do whatever. So we work together really well as a team in that respect.
Mm. So how did you decide that you were going to start doing escape rooms? Was it just like, did it come to you in a dream, or did you go to other escape rooms and go, you know what, I want to do that?
So yeah, this is how it happened. So I was bored of teaching because the politics of it. I loved the children, but the politics was just unbearable. All the paperwork you had to fill in just to give a child a cuddle because they were sad, for instance. And so I took my other half for his birthday. We went to London and played in the escape room. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. But wouldn't it be better if it was like a bit more immersive and it was like being in a film, etc., etc. And then we come home, didn't really talk about it very much. And then 2 weeks later, I just went and leased the building and started it.
Oh, wow. That's definitely straight on it.
Wow.
Unfortunately, my brain works very weird. So things come into my head, and if I don't instantly react to that, then it just gets put on a back burner, and then I find something else to do. So I knew that if we were going to do it, I had to just go for it and bite the bullet. But we only opened weekends back then, and so I still was in my full-time job, and the other half was still in his full-time job. So it wasn't so much a financial issue if it didn't work for us, because we both still had our full-time jobs.
I suppose that's a good way to get into it then, to initially start it as kind of like part-time. And is it now kind of, have you made it full-time?
Yes, so a couple of years ago, Floyd, who's the other owner, my other half, he gave up his job and I carried on teaching. And then about a year ago, I gave up completely teaching, and so now our full attention is just on the escape room. So we both work there. Unlike a lot of owners, we are actually there all the time. We have staff, we employ staff, some lovely staff that we've got. My brother works for us at a weekend on a Sunday. And we've got a little boy, I call him a little boy, he's 17 now, but he started with us a couple of years ago when he was doing work experience. And he was just great, so we kept him on as a full-time member of staff. And then another escape room locally, we went and did, and the girl worked there, and then now she works for us. So it's quite cool. And we've got a nice little family. It's like a family. It's not really like I'm your boss and you're our employee. It's family. Everyone's puts everything into it. It's really nice.
That's so wonderful then, and I'm so glad you've been able to make it full time, and our audience is very glad as well. So even though we feel like the same way, kind of like our work is kind of like our family, and we do love it, but there are some days, no matter how much you love things, there are days where you're like, oh man, like really, like people, like audience, cast members, people coming to do it, maybe like break something. Is there any days you get frustrated with it?
Yeah, I get frustrated quite a lot. I am my other half generally is the calm person. So if there's ever a big issue, and sometimes there is, some people are just rude and just don't grasp the concept of an escape room and shouldn't have been there in the first place. And so they become very rude. And I'm quite happy to talk to them, but as soon as they get aggressive, that's it, I have to walk away from it. So thankfully, Floyd is very calm and he's very and he talks to them, and they generally leave happy. But I'm there should, and it's only happened twice, should we need to remove someone from the building. But in 4 years, it's happened twice. And I generally just get fed up when people go, oh, it's so shit. Oh, sorry, I swore.
It's okay. It's an 18+ channel.
They don't mean it's shit. What happens is people don't get something or they don't understand it. So rather than just asking, they just start getting aggressive about it. And that's when I get frustrated. It's like, no, it's not shit. It's because you don't understand. Like, ask. That's what we're there to help you. But apart from that, generally, touch wood, most of our customers are lovely people.
Oh, that's lovely to hear. Yeah, but you often sometimes do run into the people who don't have patience or don't get it and get angry with things. But yeah. So just kind of we've got another question from our audience. How do you deal with drunkards? From one of our audience members have just asked.
That's a very interesting question, and I'll tell you what, in our confirmation that gets sent, clearly states that if they're under the influence of alcohol, we won't allow them in. But it really does depend. Generally, when someone walks in your front door, you can tell the sort of drunk that they are. Like, we have hen dos. We can't expect a hen do to turn up completely sober because it's just not going to happen generally. And so as long as, and our staff are quite good at judging people as such, as long as they're not like off their trolley and being aggressive, if they're just being giggly and like, then we just let them in. And we haven't really had any major alcohol problems. We've had 2 drug-orientated problems. One bloke that was so off his nut, greened out, and he literally sat in the corner the whole game rocking, which was hilarious, coming to a horror themed room. And then we had one woman and bloke that come once to our first ever room that were off their nut on acid and was making up things that weren't even in the room. So but they weren't being aggressive, they weren't being offensive, they just, I don't know what they were doing, but it was quite funny to watch and listen. They weren't being aggressive, so we just let them carry on. They didn't get out, they didn't even open a lock, I don't think, but yeah, it's funny.
Sure, they had fun regardless.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, you, especially in this industry, you have to be quick at, judging, like, okay, what's this person going to be like? You become very good at judging characters and their state of mind. So yeah. Another question from our audience. How did Michael Bolton really get on in the escape room?
Michael Bolton, his team that come generally has the same sort of people. He generally is quite good, to be fair. He's very in control. He's very the boss. But that is what you would expect of Michael. But generally, they're very clever, to be fair. And they've been coming to us for 4 years now, so since we opened. And it's clear that we can see that as they've done more and more, and they've obviously travelled all over the country doing other people's as well, that they have become very aware of what's happening, and they solve things much quicker than some general public would do. But we still make them jump, we still make them scream, and so that's the fun bit. We go out of our way to make them scared.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's definitely the best bit when those guys come. It's like, aha, they are my targets. Now I must attack them. But yeah.
Get them as good as you can.
Yeah, your story about those people on acid reminded me that we had once a group of people who were just very high off weed. You could tell they were very, very high. And just seeing them just kind of like zone out, and you're like, what are you looking, what is it, like, are you okay? And they're like, yeah. It was the most funniest and chaotic but controlled chaos we've ever had. So with this kind of whole lockdown, how has it really affected kind of Room Escape Southend? Has it been detrimental, or do you reckon it's been an opportunity for you to kind of grow it in a way?
So the last few weeks of March were terrible for us. We were down 80%, which for us is huge. That meant we couldn't pay our rent, we couldn't do hardly anything, and so we were really concerned that we wouldn't see the other side of this and that we would have no option to shut down. So this isn't begging, but we put a status on our Facebook just to our followers saying that we're really struggling. We know that we can't open, we know this. However, we're selling these open dated tickets. Please support us and buy these tickets, and then we'll be able to open at the end of it, and they'll still be valid. So literally overnight, that paid our rent, which was like, whoa, we didn't realise our customers were that like supportive of us. And so it was like, wow, that's great. And then we went into lockdown, and it was like, oh, great, now what can we possibly do? Because there is nothing we can do. And so we come up with this virtual thing, thinking, oh, a couple of our customers will play it, and that might keep us so we can eat and feed dogs and stuff. And then literally within 2 days of opening, it just went boom, and I don't know what happened. It just literally, the tickets started coming in. So we've paid our rent, we've paid our, we're not making as much money as we normally would, but we have covered everything that needs to be covered. And so we know, or I feel confident that when this is over, we can go back to normality and not be in hundreds of pounds of debt. So the virtual room has basically saved our lives, really, or saved the business anyway.
Yeah. That's so wonderful to hear, and our audience think the same of how incredible it is you have these group of followers who are so supportive, and I'm sure they've obviously shared the experience and shared the room virtual room online with people, and it's got out, which is just brilliant to see that you were able to get through this, especially because this industry is going to be definitely hit hard. So yeah, it's just fantastic to hear that. Like, it brings kind of like a little joy in my heart to hear that. So with that support, how do you reckon other escape rooms and other scare industry kind of businesses are able to support each other?
Well, I'm hoping that they've all supported each other in some way. So a prime example is, so there's another escape room that they're not doing a virtual room that's created. Basically, they're doing a Zoom version of their room. So you can pay and do their room like normal. And so they bought tickets to us. And so now that we've got money, we bought tickets for them, which has helped them out. We've shared their post on our Facebook saying, you tried our room, why don't you try these guys? And I'm hoping that everyone in the industry is helping each other somehow, whether it be buying gift vouchers or whatever they need to do to help other people. Because the worst thing that will happen is when this is all over, there are none. And we're all shut. And that doesn't need to happen. People can support each other, and I'm hoping they are. I don't know. From the Escape Room Owners page, there's an Escape Room Owners page on Facebook. Everyone's been very supportive of everyone, and they're giving them advice on all these grants that are available and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that there's not too much damage when we come out the other side, and I'm hoping that all the big Halloween events hopefully will be back up and running before their events. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So do you one of our questions from our audience says, do you reckon that we're going to see these Halloween experiences? Do you reckon we're hopefully going to see them?
Well, I would love to say yes. However, judging, are you in Southend now, or are you home?
I'm at home now. Yeah.
I'm at home now.
Well, judging by the idiots, please excuse my French, but the idiots in Southend. I mean, this weekend, for instance, I went to our building to pick up some posts, and the seafront was packed with people. The park where I walk my dog is packed with people. And so if these idiots don't stop doing what they need to do and stop being great crowds of people, then I don't know the future, because it's just going to get progressively worse. And I would hope that these people would just stop and stay at home unless they need to go out. And then, yes, hopefully we'll be over this by Halloween and everyone can go back to where it needs to be and we can all have fun and share each other's experiences. But unfortunately, we're in England and a lot of people in England are not the brightest of sparks and have conspiracy theories about everything.
Well, I think for a lot of people, if it isn't affecting them personally, then they're not interested. They don't care. I mean, I'm seeing, massive gangs of young people just meeting up, riding their bicycles down the canals and all that sort of stuff. Because I can see the entrance to the canal from my house. So, I mean, I haven't even been out other than to the shop, and that's once in 2 weeks. That's all I've been outside for. So
there's some people around here that being idiots as well, and I'm like, we're all doing what we can. We have to self-isolate anyway, so yeah. But let's just hope and keep all of our fingers crossed that by Halloween we'll all be sorted and we can have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Let's hope so, because there'll be a lot of people that lose a lot of money and lots of actors that won't have employment, and so let's just hope that the human race in Britain particularly wise up and go, do you know what? It's no harm staying at home. I've got the internet. I've got 100 million programs to watch on Netflix. It's not such a bad thing being at home.
That is very true. Saz and Megan, do you have any questions that you want to ask?
I think all of mine have been covered, so I'm happy.
I think most of it's been covered. So the virtual one that you're currently doing, have you got a whole room set up at home then that you're doing it with? You said that you're taking your phone round.
Tablet, yeah.
So we have built it in our spare room, which is where I'm sitting now.
I thought so. I could see.
This is our spare room. And there's two reasons for it. One is because it stops us having to go to work and having to pass by lots of people. And secondly, our bandwidth here is much stronger. And then our new room that we're building is being built in the loft.
Oh!
Brilliant. Oh, that's fantastic.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's really cool, because I didn't know if you were doing it in your building or at home. So it's great that you've been able to do it at home, staying at home and all that.
Yeah, we just, it was one of them things, because our escape room's in Hamlet-Court Road, I don't know if you know where that is, but quite a busy street, and we were concerned that we would be passing lots of people, and we're trying our hardest to stay in as much as we can. I do take my dogs out every morning for a walk, but really early before anyone's awake, because otherwise they'd rock off the ceiling. I have 2 Dalmatians and they need huge amounts of exercise. So I take them out in the morning, get my shopping, and then come home, spend all day at work at my own house drinking a cup of tea.
Nice.
That sounds lovely. Yeah, it was fantastic speaking to you. Thank you. I think that's pretty much all questions we have. Is there anything you want to say before we close up? A message to kind of the followers and people of Britain, I suppose?
Just a few things. Stay at home, stop being stupid, stop being selfish, because it will affect everyone. It will affect us. Even if we're not affected at present, it will definitely affect us in the long run. And support each other. It's so important. If you can afford to buy a ticket, a gift voucher for £20, and you've got that spare £20, then just go and spend it on someone that needs you to spend that money, because they might not come out the other side, where that 20 quid could be the difference between them feeding their family or not. So just support each other. We're a big community and we're there for each other, or we should be.
Yeah, that's so very true. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure to hear you talk about your work and how you're dealing with it. It's been really insightful as well, and definitely hopeful as well to hear all of these things. So thank you so much, and if we are still alive afterwards, we would love to offer you a ticket to come down and do our experience as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you, and you're obviously welcome to try our virtual room. Just send us a message, we'll sort something out with you.
Thank you so much. But yes, hopefully see you guys on the other side of this, and thank you so much for joining us today. Bye bye.